tank get? I'm gonna answer that question for you today. But first, I'm going to talk about how I would set up a 10-gallon aquarium. I'm going to give you a low-budget way to do it, as well as a little bit fancier way to do it. All right, so what do we want with our 10-gallon tank? Remember, folks, people in life don't get what they want because they don't know what they want, which is why I write down my goals, what I want, every day. It's kind of human programming, gets you focused on making sure you're working on what is important to you. What is important to you in your 10-gallon aquarium? What kind of 10-gallon aquarium do you want to set up? Do you want this to just be sitting in a room? It's in your kid's room. You're hardly going to mess with it. Low tech, low amount of fish loads, hardly any light. Or do you want something fancier? Do you want more lush plant growth? Maybe you want higher light, higher plant loads, higher fish loads, and you want to set up your 10-gallon tank differently. I'm going to tell you how I would set up a 10-gallon aquarium out of the gate and why. Let's talk about one of the downsides of a 10-gallon aquarium out of the gate. In a 10-gallon aquarium, you do not have that much room for error. Most people getting a 10-gallon aquarium might be setting it up for the first time, which is unfortunate because once you get into that 20, 30, 40 gallon and on up, bigger volumes of water, you have more room for error. In a 10-gallon aquarium, you do not have that much room for error. There is a positive with the size of a 10-gallon aquarium. I would point it out like this. Anyone who has kept a planted aquarium that is heavily stocked for a long time will note and see the difference when a heavily planted aquarium, when your plant load is significantly higher than your fish load, everything seems to work a little bit easier. Now, how do you increase your plant load? Plants eat at their roots. 10-gallon aquarium, I'm going to dirt. I'm moving quick here. I would dirt a 10-gallon aquarium because your plants absorb 400 to 400 times more nutrients through their roots than through their stems and leaves. How many times are you gonna tell us that? Enough until you get it into your head. Think like a plant. Where would you eat? You eat at your roots. So there really is no downside to dirting your 10-gallon aquarium because it's not that hard to redo or undo if you mess it up. Okay, with your tank now dirted, your plants will have an almost endless smorgasbord of food to eat from and grow rapidly in your small, easy to light 10-gallon tank. What do you want in your 10-gallon aquarium? You want a heavy plant load and the potential to have a heavier fish load. I'm talking about dirt in the tank here. Let's talk about some options with plants to go along the bottom in a carpeting style. Carpeting plants would be fabulous in a 10-gallon tank. You could get away with baby tears. Some people call it Monte Carlo. I'm not sure of the difference. However, baby tears, you can see it growing here in my Flu Ball B26. Grows rampantly along the bottom. You can also see it here in my old rainbow fish tank, mixed in with another plant known as dwarf sage. Both of these are my number one, number two as far as like easy rooting plants that would go great along the bottom of a 10-gallon aquarium. They'll grow rampantly. They'll grow out of control. They'll give you more plant load and enable more fish load. But what if you're not down with a carpeting plant? Let's talk about something you could simply get away with that would make a nice breeding zone for other types of fish. You want something simple, you want something easy, you want something not dirted. I got plants for you on that in your 10-gallon aquarium. Talk about the easiest plant ever. Let's talk about hornwort. It doesn't have roots. It's just kind of all one giant floating mass. You could use this plant and float it like crazy. It's an incredible nitrate absorbing sponge. You could also do Elodea anacris. Wouldn't even need a heater for these two plants, or this third one, Cabamba caroliniana. Guess where it's from? Carolina. It's also illegal in a bunch of states, but regardless, you could use Cabamba, Elodea anacris, and hornwort, and you could just have a giant growing, don't need dirt, don't care, low light setup that would go nuts. Those plants would grow fast, and you could have more fish because you have a high plant load. But what if you wanted to do something with driftwood? What could we do with driftwood? I know! How about plants like Anubias? Anubias alphazelli, Anubias nana, Anubias nana petite. There's also, you know I'm going to talk about it, Bucephalandra. That's right, you can make tiny little boost trees all over the place in a 10-gallon aquarium. Nothing to do with dirt, doesn't matter. Now the downside with Anubias, Boost, there's also some ones we're going to talk about in a second, is that they are slower growers. So you're going to need a lot more of them, and you're not going to be able to have quite as high of a fish load because Anubias, Boost, also things like Java Fern, they're not as fast growers, so they're not going to give you that nitrate absorption. So you're going to need a lot of them initially, and they're not going to grow fast, so you're going to want to take it easy on your fish load.